Well, hello everyone and welcome to another MIgardener complete growing guide. Hopefully you all are going to enjoy this. I've never done a complete growing guide on shallots, so we're going to do a growing guide today on that. Now, the growing guide for this is going to be very similar to the garlic growing guide. So if any of you have ever seen that one, pretty much it's going to just apply to this one, but hopefully you'll still watch and enjoy. Now, shallots are in the allium family. So they're a lot like onions and they're a lot like garlic. It's kind of in between. You really don't have anything to worry about when you're planting these because they're going to grow just like any other crop similar to that, like green onions, garlic, stuff like that. So these want to grow for you. That's the first thing you need to know, is that no matter what you do to these, they're going to grow. Now, we're trying to get them to grow to their best and most optimal size. That's the trick. So what you're going to need to do is first amend your bed with lots of compost in the fall. The reason being is because we're going to overwinter these so that they're going to have an early jump start in the spring. So it's about 30 days to the first frost. We just planted our garlic, so you want to plant these the same time that you're planting your garlic. Now what you're going to do is when you amend your bed, make sure you turn over the soil, or make sure you have at least 7, 8, 9 inches of very deep soil that you can just burrow down in without a problem at all. And that's going to allow you to have a very deep root system so that they can overwinter properly. Because the thing is, if you do these in pots on your patio, you're going to have a problem because the pot does not offer enough insulation to protect the roots from that cold, harsh winter. Now, if you're in a place that does not get a freeze or a frost, stuff like that, you can afford to do these in the springtime, and much like we covered in the garlic video, you're going to be able to get 2 harvests, which is awesome for people that like that. Now, the days to maturity are about 90 to 110 days. So depending on your region, that's going to vary. Also with the variety, it's also going to vary. These are a purple shallot. I love the flavor of these. That's why we're growing these. And I got these from a local farmer's market that we have here in town. And that's going to be probably your best bet. Now, a lot of times people say don't get them from the store. The thing is if it's organic, it's not been sprayed with anything, and chances are there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So for the cost of shallots, I prefer to get these rather than go to a seed catalog, because you're going to be paying an arm and a leg. However, if that's something you want to do, that's great too. Now, these are biannual. All bulbs in the allium family are biannual. So they're going to flower the next year if they're put into too much shock. So part of the benefit of waiting till it's just almost that frost period, about 30 days to your first frost, is going to get the roots established, but it's not going to get the greens established, because the only way the plant realizes that it's a kind of like a resetting period or a dormancy period is if it gets a nice established plant. So as long as you don't have that going on, it's going to not flower the next year. Obviously, you're going to have the chance of it flowering, but I find that with this time period, you're not going to have a big problem. So the next thing you're going to want to do is make sure you amend it with some good compost, like I said. Also, what I prefer to do sometimes is sprinkle a little bit of bone meal. And the reason why I plant bone meal, or why I plant with bone meal in the fall time, is because bone meal is a very good phosphorus source. It's a very extremely high extremely high count fertilizer when it comes to phosphorus. So my bone meal is a 0-10-0, and that is going to be 10% of the weight in just phosphorus, which is great. So, and that's going to be used in the root production of the plant. So greens would be nitrogen. That's why I don't add a whole lot of nitrogen right now, because like I said, I don't want a whole plant, because then it will go into shock and has a better chance of flowering. And even if it does flower, it's not going to ruin the plant at all. Or it's not going to ruin the bulbs. There'll still be shallots, but it will just be a smaller shallot bulb, because it'll put the energy into the bulb, or into the flowering, rather than into making larger bulbs. So when it comes to shallots, you can see that there's an obvious size difference here. Now, you want to plant them about 4 to 7 inches apart. 4 inches being for the smaller shallots, because they're not going to make as big of a bulb next year. These are going to be 4 inches, and these larger shallot bulbs are going to be about 7 inches, because you want to make sure there's that extra space, because this large of a bulb will make a nice size shallot. So you're going to have different sizes, obviously, and you just want to kind of gauge that, because the larger the bulb, the larger the plant will be. It's just a healthier bulb, and healthier bulbs means healthier plants. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plant this one here. I'm just going to work it down into the soil. You want it just below the soil level. So as you can see, if I peel that back there, the top of the bulb here, I figure I probably should mention this too. The top, this right here, is going to be the greens. This is where the greens are coming out, and down here you're going to notice that there's kind of some kind of stubbly roots here. Those are the roots. Those go down. So you want to make sure that the green portion is just kind of going to be above the soil. You can bury it by about a quarter inch to half an inch, and that's going to be fine. It's not going to hurt it. But if I poke this up right here, you can see that there's just a little bit of that showing up. That's going to ensure that it's not too deep, because if you plant a shallot too deep, much like the garlic or much like an onion, the pressure from the soil, when it gets compacted, it's going to push in on the bulbs, and it's going to prevent a good size shallot from forming. So I'm just planting these. I don't have all that many, because next year what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use these to ensure another crop of shallots. So these ones will then go into being the seed for next year. So I'm going to just cover them up like that. As you can see, nothing, I mean, just barely poking through the surface. But if you want now to mulch, now would be a good time. You can take some straw and put that over top. That's going to insulate and add an insulative barrier from the winter cold, help the roots to stay that much more unthawed, so in the springtime they're that much quicker to sprouting. And also what you can do is you can also take mulched leaves. That also works great, and it's not going to prevent the greens from popping up. So now what you want to do is just wait, and all you have to do is let the shallots come up. If they start coming up a little bit, don't worry about it. The greens will pop up maybe about a couple inches. That won't hurt them at all. That's very normal, and you don't have to worry. Don't mulch over those greens, whatever you do, because that will be bad. So if you see the greens starting to poke up, don't mulch over them. What you want to do is mulch first and let the greens pop up, because then you're not damaging any growth cycle or stressing the plant out, because that increases the chance of it flowering as well. So there you go. Very simple, very self-explanatory. Hopefully you enjoyed. I definitely recommend planting shallots. They are an excellent vegetable for you to plant, very easy to grow, and also they store very long in the winter time. So if you're looking for a winter source of food for your family, this is going to be just that. I like them because they can be planted closer than onions. They're a little more easy to grow than onions are, and when it comes to shallots, you really can't beat the flavor. They are much more intense than an onion, but not as hot as a garlic. So it's very versatile. I love them, and I can definitely see why they've been grown for hundreds of years. And so hopefully you'll give them a try, because I think that they're one of the more overlooked kind of bulb type vegetables. So until next episode, I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully you are growing big or going home wherever you are. Hopefully you're staying warm as well. And I'm going to go inside and warm up because my hands are cold. So I will catch you all later. This is Luke from MIgardener. I will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.